And now I'd like to turn to Mr. Raul González from the National Council of La Raza.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, and thank you for coming. I want to thank my panelists for being here, also Senators Enzi and Burr for helping to organize this event. My name is Raul González. I'm the Legislative Director with the National Council of La Raza. NCLB, we are a national civil rights organization working on behalf of the nation's more than 40 million Hispanic Americans. And just to let you know a little bit about ourselves, we serve as an umbrella for about 300 community-based organizations around the country providing services to the Latino community and other folks in those communities. And we have about 100 charter schools in our network that are facing the challenges of closing the graduation rate gap as well as the achievement gap, and also trying to comply with NCLB. So we're very in the weeds on some of this stuff out in the field, but we're also working on the issue here, and as such, we are proud to be a member of the Campaign for High School Equity and to work with CHSC in the struggle to really close the achievement gap, but change what has been for decades a public education system that has treated minority children differently. And in talking about that, I just want to give a little, not that I like to talk about myself that much, but just a little bit of history of my educational experiences, which I think have shaped the way I think about NCLB, accountability as a whole, but also graduation rate accountability. When my family came to New York City from Puerto Rico, I was born. In the late 60s, the education opportunities that we had in the schools I attended were predominantly black and Hispanic. The quality of education was not so great. Then when I started attending middle school and high school in the 70s, it was not so great. And the high school I attended, we started off with more than 1,500 kids in ninth grade and graduating with a class of about 250. About 12 of us, if you're familiar with the New York State system, which has a Regents exam system, which is a little bit more rigorous than the basic competency test that other kids had to pass in order to graduate, which was an 8th grade math and reading level, basically. There were about 12 of us in that high school who graduated having passed all of the Regents exams. I feel that the 12 of us got a decent education, but there were about 1,500 kids in that school who did not. And then 10 years later, I went back to teach in that high school. And I found that a lot of the teachers were still there. They still treated me as if I were one of their students, meaning I was kind of ignored and not taken seriously. But the educational experiences of those kids were not different. And so since 1954, at least since the 60s, in some schools in parts of this country, the educational experience of minority children is very different. We have more than 50 years since Brown versus Board, we have separate systems of education. We're still very segregated, but the opportunities are very segregated as well. And that's the challenge that we face when we look at educational accountability and graduation rate accountability as a civil rights issue, that we are living in a country with two different school systems, unfortunately.